Mom? Mommy's with the maggots now. I'll rip your soul out. Dead by dawn. Dead by dawn. Dead by dawn. Yay! Evil Dead Rise was directed by Lee Cronin, who did The Hole in the Ground. He's also done shorts. Check out The Hole in the Ground. It took a concept that might have been normal, aka a hole in the ground. So as far as titles, it was pretty accurate. And made it pretty good, pretty creepy, and pretty dirty. And kind of bloody, and kind of viscous, and kind of visceral. Speaking of viscous and visceral, Evil Dead Rise. Now, if you're like me, and I know I am, you appreciate horror movies. And if you are like me, and again, I know I am, and I'm like me, you like some of the Evil Dead movies, but you don't necessarily have an affection for them. If you have a major affection for the Evil Dead movies, and also watched Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which I only watched a few episodes of because time is limited and also not the biggest fan, this is how I would rank them. Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Evil Dead, and then other interpretations and everything, the Evil Dead games, and then Evil Dead 2013's all the way fucking down here, where I just want to step on the goddamn thing because Evil Dead 2013 was so goddamn shit. It was just a retread of the same stuff without any ingenuity or really... None of the actors particularly were bad, but they weren't given anything really to do. It was a reboot or even a pseudo-sequel that... There are two kinds. There's ones that leap off and do their own thing while honoring the original material, and then there are some, like Evil Dead 2013, that burrow back in and tunnel and go to sleep and take a nap for about 10 years. And actually, after Evil Dead, 2013 didn't do all that well. It made enough money, but it didn't set the world on fire. Yes, we'll go higher than the sun. It had a $17 million budget, the biggest of any Evil Dead movie. It made money, but not an incredible amount. Apparently not to the point they wanted to rush a sequel out. So this one has a $12 million budget and takes Lee Cronin's writing and directing ability and also buckets and buckets and bustuous buckets of blood. Bustuous isn't even a goddamn word. Gore, blood, insanity, and lots of stab, lots of craziness, and it basically takes the Necronomicon, 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 the Book of the Dead from the other movies. If you have not seen any of the other Evil Dead movies, I'm not going to say you need to see this and enjoy this, but it helps. And maybe because I watched all of them within the last couple of weeks, some of this stuff's fresh in my mind. I need a refresher course, so I'm like, why not? And plus, people like me reviewing older shit. So with this, I was kind of excited, actually, because I was like, alright, 2013's Evil Dead was dire and shit. So let's take the Book of the Dead and put it in a high-rise hellscape, as it were, because holy shit, once this movie basically is done honoring the past and kind of doing a few things that get a, I don't want to say it gets in the way, but a few things that seem familiar, boy, it really kicks it into high gear. Lee Cronin has created the best entry in the franchise. This was phenomenal. I haven't even talked about the cast. You have Ellie, the one that, Mommy's with the maggots now. Elisa Sutherland, or Alyssa Sutherland, I apologize if I said that wrong. She's good. Lily Sullivan, who plays Beth. Auntie Beth, get Toto, it's a twister. Danny, oh hi Danny. Morgan Davies. Cassie, or Cassie. Nell Fisher, Nell. Gabriel Eccles, Anne-Marie Thomas, and Mirabai Peace. Pretty certain I probably butchered that last name, I apologize. But yeah, just take the Evil Dead, possession, craziness, Dead by Dawn, Dead by Dawn, Dead by Dawn. Put it in a high-rise apartment, especially one that is going to be condemned soon. And just add rain outside, just like rain on your wedding day. And it's a free ride, and you're going to be dead by dawn today. And it's such good advice that you better fucking take, because the Book of the Dead has it figured. Alanis Morissette is probably going to sue me for that. But this was originally also supposed to be on HBO Max. And then test audiences apparently loved it. And they said, oh, let's just put it out there. Honestly, had this been on HBO Max, I would have been okay with it. I would have been absolutely locked in and watched it. But they released it in theaters, and I'm glad they did. I think that this movie will end up making some money, and I think that it will probably end up being the highest grossing of the particular franchise, because it's had the most viral marketing campaign. Did they show quite a bit in the goddamn trailer? Yes. Yes, they did. There are certain scares that I've seen so goddamn much, I was afraid they weren't going to make me jump out of my seat or make me go, ooh. But oh, they did. Because Lee Cronin understands subtlety, and yes, there are some jump scare noises, but they're earned jump scare noises. That gore was really goddamn... They were very, very good as far as getting the most out of a $12 million budget. Lee Cronin understands how to do gore. The makeup crew, great shit there. The acting wasn't even that bad. I actually somewhat cared about the characters. I'm not saying all the characters are that great, but they actually somehow managed to honor the past while forging their own path. And it certainly does rise above all the other entries, even though, again, Evil Dead 2 may be the one that people hold up. Army of Darkness was a fun comedy horror movie. Evil Dead Rise, yes, it has the comedy to it. But fuck, when it goes for the jugular, wait, that's going for the circus. When it goes for the jugular, we decide to just go along for the ride if we're smart. Because this movie is basically going to pull us like this and ha-ha! It's just going to pull us like around and everything. I think I popped the goddamn collar. God damn it, I love this shirt. I'll have to order another one. Nevertheless, this movie's great. This is great. I had great goddamn fun. It was actually pretty eerie and pretty spooky. And no, not wholly original, because we have done so many goddamn, variations of not just Evil Dead, but people trying to copy Evil Dead. I mean, take a look at this shirt. I mean, Ready or Not, Here I Come, You Can't Hide, 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 Hide. No, this movie does not have Samara weaving. Ready or Not's really good. Check that out after you check out Evil Dead Rise. Great goddamn gore effects and great stuff, and a great tease to, possibly a sequel, maybe, I don't know. Can't exactly say. No, there's no sequel. There's no sequel. Or maybe there is. You have to check it out in the spoilers. But it just ends up being a lot of fun. It's quick. It's like 97 goddamn minutes. And it kicks it in the gear pretty goddamn quick. It gets to where it gets to gore, and they're like, all right, we'll just, freaking go for it. And Lee Cronin's just going to put the pedal to the metal. And even building up the stuff. There are certain things, I think, that don't quite get explained, like how these particular situations or this particular high-rise end up being the epicenter, despite all the other stuff that happened in the previous movies. But nevertheless, it ends up being quite a fun ride. Great entertainment. One of my favorite films of the year. Yes, Evil Dead Rise. One of my favorite films of the year. I've already watched like 85 Oh, this is the 85th movie I've seen released this year. Yes, I have no life, because why not? Why not watch movies? It's in theaters. Absolutely check it out. 100% entertaining. Gory. God, there were some really, really vicious gore pieces. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay, so Beth is pregnant. She finds this out a little bit early on, and then goes to visit her sister Ellie. But first, gotta talk about the very beginning of the movie, where there are a couple girls, one girl, her cousin, and the cousin's boyfriend, or the cousin of the friend's some boyfriend who's using a drone and basically targets the nerdy girl. And he says, well, I gave her some sleeping pills to sleep off whatever's wrong with her. Because they go in and then the cousin's all possessed, and then the cousin ends up killing both. It's hilarious. She rips off her cousin's scalp. It's great. And then she drowns the boyfriend. And then takes she takes the drone and puts the blades on her face and does all this. And this movie is pretty, pretty great with the gore. There are certain things they cut away from, I think, probably to avoid getting anything more than an R rating. But then we go to the high-rise after we are introduced to Beth, who is called a groupie by Ellie. And they have a strained relationship. They're sisters. But then there are 3 kids, a couple teenagers, and then one little girl. And then from there, things seem all right. The apartment's condemned. Beth hasn't been the best sister to Ellie. Hasn't really been there. And she had called her because the significant other, the father of the kid, decided to leave just for whatever reason. He's not paying child support. They're going to have to move out because the building's condemned, and it's going to be broken down in a month. Okay, yet somehow, despite all this, she takes Beth in. Beth is relaxing, and she sends the kids out to get pizza while there's a monsoon going out there. Will you be serious? And then an earthquake hits. And there's like a hole in the ground. Ha ha ha, Lee Cronin. He's going to do a comedy, with puppies and kittens and waterfalls, and then he's going to have a hole in the ground. Lee Cronin should make that his goddamn thing, where a hole just appears in the ground. Do it. Do it, Lee. Like Lee Cronin's going to watch this. But nevertheless, they're coming back with pizza, and they drop the pizza, but suddenly, Danny, oh hi Danny, sees this hole in the ground. And decides to crawl into it. Nothing good ever comes from crawling into a hole in the ground, especially in horror movies. But finds all this paperwork, this vault, and all this weird shit going on. All this religious stuff, and records, and a book that's wrapped and has bugs on it that fly around. A Book of the Dead. Let me take that. Let me ignore the Jesus statue and all the religious iconography, or if that's even a goddamn word, hanging around and all that. Let me just take this that's clearly not right. This old bank vault and all this, and let me take it in there. And Danny does DJ work and does record work. Well, she ends up putting that on, or Danny ends up... I'm not actually sure if Danny was supposed to be a girl or possibly non-binary, so I'll just say they. I'm not sure. They never described. I'm just saying as far as the look. But they... being Danny, decided to, play the record. Played the first record, and this is recording of St. Michael's Cathedral, and this one guy trying to get every elder in 1923 to let him play the Book of the Dead and do that. Well, they didn't want to do that. Then the second one, I'm going to do it anyway. And then later in the record, oh shit, I unleashed this ancient evil, and now we're fucked. So guess what happens? Ellie, who's trying to do laundry and goes down this dilapidated hotel in this, sparky, this elevator that's literally sparking whenever it goes on, because it's going to be condemned soon. And she ends up getting possessed, ends up getting all like this and everything, all contorted around by the cables and stuff like that. It's like John McClane went absolutely insane. Back when John McClane's memory remains. Oh, that's mean. That's mean. It's not wrong, but it's mean. So what ends up happening after that is Ellie is possessed. She is doing some crazy stuff like, cooking weird crap, just throwing eggs and doing all this. And then she comes back to life. Don't let them take my baby. Don't let it take my babies. Woo, gets pulled in. And then we get all kinds of gore and craziness. And Beth must basically try to save her sister, and then when that doesn't work, try to help the kids survive the night. Also, the stairs got taken out during the earthquake, or possibly the demon said, "No, you're not going to go down those steps." There's a neighbor boy and an older guy that are trying to bust down this one fire escape, or bust down this door and get down the fire escape. And then there's also a couple kids, and there's also a few other things, and it's absolutely goddamn nuts. Man, the gore is incredible in this. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't seen better gore in other movies, but this is incredible. Incredible usage as far as the budget. And as far as, earning it. Alyssa Sutherland is great as the possessed Ellie and stuff like that. Just, the bathtub part, they try to get her in the bathtub, and it doesn't like water. It doesn't like that. Oh, it's like holy water and everything. Mommy's with the maggots now. It's like, eeny, meeny, miny, you. And eventually, Ellie gets locked outside, but not before biting one of the kids. And then one of the kids ends up, one of the kids ends up basically getting infected. So now the evil's outside and inside. And then more people just end up getting killed and getting really fucked up, and everybody outside the apartment gets fucking killed and dismembered by Ellie that just... It does at one point, she tries to get the little girl to let her in. It's like, open up now. It's like, Mom, you don't look so good. Well, nothing a big hug and a kiss from you can't fix. And then she tries to get in the apartment. And that doesn't work. and she kills everybody else. And then, basically, the remaining sister and the little girl are the only ones that are left. Because there's some goddamn weird shit going on. And she's trying to save her. They manage to get down the elevator. Everybody's all possessed and doing all this stuff. And just, they human centipede themselves together because the Book of the Dead shows that it's like a conglomeration of evil. And then the apartment's elevator fills with blood while the little girl and her aunt are in there. And then the elevator gets weighed down by the conglomeration of demonic bodies and smashes down there. And they're trying to get out. They try to get out through the station wagon, or via the station wagon. They get the gate open, but they get stuck. And then they manage to sneak around. And the human centipede thing grabs them and pulls them, or pulls the little girl back in. And then Auntie's like, no, I will not let this happen. She has a shotgun. She busts into the goddamn thing. And she's about to get goddamn killed because there's this weird grindy, it's almost wood chipper-like. There's a weird wood chipper thing in the garage of the apartment complex. I don't know why, except for the end of this movie. What ends up happening is the little girl ends up switching it off so her aunt doesn't get killed, switches it back on, and the vicious creature gets all killed and everything, and then the sister, the demon's trying to plead one last time, and it's so funny before this, actually. The aunt says, you know, come get some, has the chainsaw and everything. It's just, it's great, and it's wild, and it's woolly, and it's moronic, but it's so fun, you don't care. She destroys the goddamn demonic creature, puts the chainsaw through her goddamn sister's head, and then leaves with the girl, and that's it. They're all done. That's it. The end of the movie. Then this one girl gets out of the apartment, or out of her apartment, somehow not hearing all this stuff. Not hearing any of this. Not seeing, and got up on a different floor, seemingly. Got down the apartment, or got down the elevator, or another elevator, or whatever it was. Got into her car, and suddenly looked around. Wait, there's a car covered in blood. What the hell's going on? And suddenly, a demon runs in and attacks her. And it's the girl from the beginning, the cousin that ripped off her cousin's scalp and killed the boyfriend. So there's your sequel hook. They got us a sequel hook in the very beginning of the movie, and we probably didn't even realize it, or maybe we did, because after that opening, it went to one day earlier. Evil Dead Rise is amazing. It is amazing. It's fresh. It feels like they might actually do something right by the Evil Dead franchise. I would be very surprised if this movie isn't successful and doesn't lead to a sequel. Hopefully, they make it good. Shockingly, this was a pretty good way to change up the setting. It was great. It was great shit. Evil Dead Rise was fantastic. A+, in case I didn't say that already. Agree, disagree what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.